Teenage ant smugglers were arrested in Africa. Middle-aged men are being featured on collectible trading cards in Japan. And an 84-year-old man was injured after falling from a cross during a crucifixion reenactment. These are the weird stories on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast. Got some weird news for you from around the world. Here we go. Teenagers were arrested for smuggling ants out of Africa. I'm assuming they smuggled them in their pants, as one does with the ants. When you are an ant smuggler, you're putting them in your pants. Why would you smuggle ants? I'm not sure. Is there some sort of underground ant fighting ring going on here? And the strong ones are from Africa? Isn't that where those fire ants are from? You ever see videos of those fire ants? They really, they'll take down a gazelle or a mountain lion. They're not screwing around over there. You step in one of those nests, oh, it's over for you. I don't mean to freak you out. Anyways, let's get into the teenagers that were charged with wildlife piracy. These two Belgian teenagers were charged after they were found with thousands of ants packed in test tubes in what Kenyan authorities said was part of a trend in trafficking smaller and lesser-known species. Are there some sort of insect trafficking thing going on? Or were these kids just about to go to an ant convention? Have you guys been to AntCon? I heard AntCon 2025 was lit. All right, these two are young, 19-year-olds. They were arrested with a total of 5,000 ants. They appeared very distraught during their appearance before a magistrate in Nairobi and were comforted in the courtroom by relatives. Wow, relatives flew all the way to Africa to help these kids out? Wow, their family cares. If I was ever caught smuggling contraband out of an African nation, do you think my family would just get on a plane and fly down to comfort me? Wow, these kids really got it made. Hopefully they won't be thrown into an African prison for... Can you imagine? A 19-year-old white Belgians thrown into an African prison? Ooh, that's brutal. Well, don't smuggle contraband. That's the lesson here. I don't know where these kids are getting these ideas. This sort of depravity wasn't like this in my days. Back in my days, we smuggled a box of Cheez-Its into a movie theater, snuck it in down our pants. Smuggling invasive wildlife out of an African nation never really was on our radar. Couldn't really afford to get on a plane either. Go to Africa. Couldn't afford to go to Canada, never mind Africa. Now, these two Belgian teens told the magistrate they were collecting the ants for fun and did not know that it was illegal. I don't know. You got 5,000 of them? I don't think that's fun at this point. Sounds like you're trying to operate a business. Sounds very entrepreneurial, if you ask me. What do you get for ants on the black market? Let's find out what species of ants these are and if they're worth a lot of money, and then we'll know the motivation. Okay, the 5,000 ants were found in a guest house where they were staying, were packed into 2,244 test tubes that had been filled with cotton wool to enable the ants to survive for months. Kenyan authorities valued the ants at 1 million shillings, which is $7,700. The prices for ants can vary greatly according to the species and the market. Wow, Kenyan money is called shillings? That's wild. I didn't know that. Did you know that shilling was still alive and kicking somewhere in the world? I had no idea. All right, it doesn't say what kind of ants these are exactly. I would like to know. But the fact that they packed them in over 2,000 test tubes lets you know that these weren't smuggled for fun. They had a plan. You just don't go in, because getting 2,244 test tubes together and putting like 2 ants in each tube with cotton, that's not for fun. That's an operation at that point. And, you can get $8,000 for this many ants. Apparently, I didn't know you could get this much money for ants. Wow. Did you guys know? All we have to do is walk out of our house into our yards, and we are standing on a gold mine. Get some test tubes, guys. This reminds me of the time I learned you can actually get money for dirt. I had no idea until I went on Craigslist that you can get money for dirt. People are trying to buy dirt. I had no idea. I've been walking on it for my whole life. I didn't know I could sell it for some dough. Ants, too. Shoot, man. Just get a big vat of ants and dirt. make a killing. Now, it says ant smuggling out of Africa is becoming a bit of an issue. There's a separate criminal case involving a Kenyan man and a Vietnamese man charged with illegal trafficking of ants. In the same courtroom, they were arrested in possession of 400 illegal ants. The Kenyan Wildlife Service says the men were involved in trafficking the ants to markets in Europe and Asia. The species included Mesorcephalotes, which is a distinct, large, and red-colored harvester ant native to East Africa. Oh, so this is the ant they're after, it sounds like. Mesorcephalotes. Now, Kenya in the past has had to fight against the trafficking of body parts of much larger species of wild animals, such as elephants, rhinos, among others. But the cases against these individuals represent a shift in trafficking trends from large mammals to lesser-known yet ecologically critical species. Philip of the Africa Wildlife Foundation in Nairobi says ants play the role of enriching soils, enabling germination, and providing food for species such as birds. They're very important to the ecology. Yeah, the issue is they're much easier to smuggle than an elephant tusk. And it sounds like you can get thousands and thousands of dollars for ants. Who knew? Who knew? So many ways to make money that I'm unaware of, which is probably why I'm so damn broke. I mean, it wasn't until I had this podcast that I learned that influencers can sell their bathwater for hundreds of dollars. And then, I've covered so many stories about strange smuggling operations. People smuggling turtles down their pants. People smuggling butter. Cow feces, I believe was the story I covered. Cow feces being smuggled out of India. And now we have ants, apparently. I feel bad for the investigator that had to count all those ants, those 5,000 ants. 3,456, 3,457, 3,450. Oh, dang it. 1 ant, 2 ant, 3 ant. Middle-aged men are being featured on collectible trading cards in Japan. Move over, Pokemon. There's a new collectible craze that's now sweeping Japan. Not exactly what you'd expect. They're called Osan cards. They're a trading card series celebrating not athletes, not Pokemon, but simply the humble lives of middle-aged Japanese men. This has gone from niche curiosity to full-blown cultural phenomenon. Osan cards. These old men cards were first released in 2021. They combine the appeal of TCGs with a warm, humorous look at everyday life. What are TCGs? Let's look up our terms. Oh, it says trading card games. TCGs. I was unfamiliar. I guess Magic the Gathering would fall under that. I played that a few times. All right. There was I have a kind of a nerdy side of me. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm a well-rounded guy. I have an artsy side, a nerdy side, a sports side, a funny side, a sensitive side. Just trying to be a well-rounded human being. Yeah. Did I play Dungeons and Dragons a few times? Of course I did. But did I also hit a grand slam to win a co-ed softball game? Yes, I definitely did. Okay, back to these cards, Osan cards. They combine the appeal of those gaming cards with warm, humorous looks at everyday life. Instead of monsters or athletes, these cards feature ordinary men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, posing proudly with pints, enjoying their hobbies, or simply being their authentic, awkward selves. Well, I like this. This is really weird and really funny. Of course it's coming out of Japan. Of course. They're describing this as a love letter to middle-aged men, complete with statistics, backstories, and the kind of charm that no other card game offers. With statistics? What kind of statistics? Like their blood pressure? How many times they won at bingo? Was there a health issue checklist on the back of these things? Is there a section called approximate years left? Sorry. Come on, this is funny. With statistics on the back of old people cards, what could it possibly be? There's going to be an emergency contact on the back of there. If you see this guy passed out on the sidewalk, please call. I'll bet you there's some cute little anecdotes in there. Like, hey, despite the gout, Edgar hiked Poison Ivy Canyon last year. Come on. I'm just having some fun here, all right? Just make fun of these. I think it's cool. I would love to be on a trading card as well. When I'm like 75 years old, just a picture of me eating Jello. Okay, no more jokes. But I'd love to see one of these cards. I'm guessing the font is really big. I did it again. I'm sorry. All right, it says what began as simply a novelty item sold in gacha machines, GACHA machines. I don't know. Does that mean vending machines? Is that how you say vending machines in Japan? God, do I have to look up another thing? All right, I suppose it is my job. A gacha machine, also known as a capsule toy machine or gachapon, is a type of vending machine that dispenses random collectible toys inside plastic capsules. The name gacha is derived from the sounds of turning the handle of the machine and the capsule dropping. Wow, that reminds me of my childhood for sure. I definitely was into those gacha machines. Little tiny toys and those plastic bulbous things. A quarter, usually. 50 cents maybe. The trick was to convince your parents to buy you this useless crap as you were exiting a store in which they've already spent a bunch of money. Like, let's say we were grocery shopping. They already spent all their money grocery shopping. And then I'm like, please, let me have this nonsense in this machine. I had to develop strong negotiating skills at a very early age in life to get myself some, well, it was either a very terrible quality toy of some sort or something that would rot my teeth. Back to the story. What is behind this sudden global interest? Well, I wouldn't call it a global interest. It's definitely popular over there, but I've never seen or heard of these over here. What are Osen cards? Osen is a Japanese term that loosely translates to middle-aged man, often used with a mix of affection and cheekiness. The Osen Cards Project takes this idea and runs with it, giving these men a spotlight rarely seen in the world of collectibles. Each card features a photo of a real middle-aged Japanese man, a character name, which is often humorous, personal statistics and their hobbies, a fictional power level or ability, unique quotes or trivia. Think of them as part character profile, part slice of life snapshot. Some Osan are ex-rockers, others are keen gardeners or ramen fanatics. There's even a silent Osan who refuses to speak to anyone. Oh, I wonder if that guy's really displeased that he's on one of these collectible cards. He's probably totally angry. The photo of him is his arm over his face trying to block his face from being photographed. Okay, these are very popular, apparently. Why aren't there women, though? This is just the men. Get some lady cards. What are you doing? I just think it's odd that it's just men. All right, let's find out what they cost. Where do you get them? The original Osen cards were distributed through gacha machines only and at small events, but thanks to their rise in popularity, you can find them very easy online. Collectors have begun trading them internationally, with even some showing up on marketplaces such as eBay. There's even an official website for the project, which includes card listings, behind-the-scenes photos, and ways to support the creators. Are some worth more than others? Yeah, I guess these individuals pass away, I guess the value of their card probably goes up. I'm just trying to think of a reason why the value would go up. Or maybe if they accomplish something like a Guinness World Record. Like, that 106-year-old guy that jumped out of a plane. I'm just trying to think of ways in which the cards would be worth more. Yeah, because like a sports card value is based on a couple of factors. One, the rarity of it, as in number of card printed, and also ability of the athlete. This article ends by saying, as more hobbyists around the world discover the set, it's clear Osan cards have struck a chord. They might not have holographic foils or booster boxes, but they offer something else. Real people, real charm, and a refreshing change of pace in the world of trading cards.
Hey, Todd, Daddy, how you doing?
Tax day's always a pain. Next year could be a nightmare. If Congress fails to extend Trump's tax cuts, middle-class families will get hit with a huge tax increase. That means less money for groceries, less money to pay your mortgage, less money for school supplies, and less money for family vacations. A $1,500 tax increase? That's enough to give families the cold sweats. Avoid the nightmare. Save Trump's tax cuts. Learn more at protectprosperity.com. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
A man was critically injured after falling from a cross during a crucifixion reenactment. What happened? Did they forget the nails? Oh, there's probably a nail tariff, so they're a little more expensive these days. They tried glue, the crucifixion glue, and it had a bad ending here. This story's out of West Virginia, a place where you would expect a crucifixion reenactment. We have an 84-year-old man crawling up on a cross to be crucified. This guy, 84 years old. My goodness. Get this guy a trading card. This 84-year-old man was critically injured after falling from a cross during a crucifixion reenactment in West Virginia on Good Friday. I guess he didn't nail the landing. The incident occurred at 12:30 p.m. at the Masonic Cemetery in Weston, West Virginia. This individual was participating in the reenactment with the Vandalia Community Christian Church when he fell about 10 feet from one of the crosses. One of the crosses? You had multiple crosses? Did you have multiple crucifixion reenactments? How many volunteers were like, yeah, I don't know, put me up there, draw blood? I mean, it's hard to believe that people would give their body over for such things for no pay. I would be surprised if they paid to do it. But this is a thing. I covered that guy in the Philippines. Do you recall? He's done crucifixion reenactments like 35 times over the years. It's very strange behavior. I mean, wasn't the entire point of Jesus sacrificing himself so we don't have to? I just, more and more, I don't think that the message of Jesus is getting through to anybody. All right, back to the 84-year-old man who crucified himself. He fell 10 feet from the cross and then had to be transported to an emergency facility. Unfortunately, on the way to the hospital, they crashed inside a cave and a large boulder fell and blocked the entrance, and it's going to take about 3 days for him to emerge. All right. No more crucifixion Jesus jokes. I'll bury him right here, right now. Here's a very fascinating aspect of the story. This man, this 84-year-old man, was not a member of this specific church, but was simply assisting the event. So he's just like a crucifixion cosplayer. Just hiring himself out? I don't know. It's just strange that you would sacrifice yourself. You're not even a member of this specific church. He's just doing it for the love of the game, guys. Now, they spoke to a family member of this guy. They said he was admitted to the ICU with broken ribs, but he was doing much better since he was first hospitalized. The family member also said the doctors believe his injuries are now non-life-threatening, thankfully. At this time, there is no word on what caused the man to fall from the cross. I'll tell you. How about gravity and 84 years old? That'll make a fall. In fact, right now, as I speak, there's an old person falling somewhere in the world. That's just life. I say we get this guy on a trading card before he falls again. All right, that's the end of the article. There's no lesson in there, but I can tell you what the lesson is crucifying that's a young man's game, man. You can't be 84. Jesus was 33. Although, to be fair, 33 years old back then was probably the equivalent of 84 years old today. The other lesson is there's no need to go to extremes to show your devotion. Someone's going to get hurt, and it is probably going to be you. So take it easy. You want to get on your knees a little bit? Yeah, okay. A lot of prayer. Get out there and do that thing. But there's no need to crawl up on a cross and have someone poke nails through your wrists. I mean, even the Pope didn't crucify himself on Easter. No. He met with J.D. Vance, which turned out to be much worse.
There's a good chance you're dealing with a middleman, like me, when you get your medicines. That's because PBMs and insurers are often the same company. We even own big chain pharmacies and are buying your doctor's office. We decide what medicines you can get, where you get them, and how much you pay. It's a win-win. For me.
When middlemen own it all, you lose. Visit phrma.org/middlemen to learn more. Paid for by Pharma.
Weird news is in flight. Afternoon delight. Hi, my friends. Thank you for spending some time with your buddy Jonesy in the Weird AF News. It's me. It's caffeine. It's weird news. Oh, it's just a winning combination, isn't it? If you haven't subscribed to the show yet, please consider doing so. Just FYI, heads up. I do weird news all week long. So that's what it is. If you like weird news, you're going to enjoy Weird AF News going forward. On Friday, we only do weird news from Florida. I should say I only do weird news from Florida. That's a real hoot. So stick around for that one as well. Now, if you'd like to participate and contribute, and you come across weird news that you think is appropriate for the podcast, I have an email, funnyjones@gmail.com. Just drop me a link. I'll check it out. Or you can actually go to my Instagram as well, @funnyjones. You could put the link in my DMs. I got a website, weirdafnews.com. Check that out. That's got some stuff on there and ways to support the show. Anyways, we're about 20 minutes in, so I'm going to stop. It's about, because I think 20 is the sweet spot, baby. Do you think it's the sweet spot? Oh, yeah, it's sweet.